Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Well, hello, this is Larry Sonnenburg sitting in for Steve Arterburn today, and I am really blessed. I'm with two of my favorite people here at New Life, Dr. Alice Benton.
Hi.
And Becky Brown.
Hello.
Hi there.
It's always a treat for me when Larry hosts. I know you listeners think the same, too. It's so nice having him with us.
Well, it's fun. Thank you. There's a couple things I hope to get in here real quick. One is I gave Becky and Alice a list that somebody sent to me today. I think it was a friend got it off of Facebook. It was from Bro Newman. And there was 12 things to consider as you get closer to closing the door on one of the most challenging years of our lifetime. And give me one or two that stood out to you guys, and I'll share mine.
This made me laugh so many times, but one of them is the world has turned upside down. Old folks are sneaking out of the house, and their kids are yelling at them to stay indoors.
It is an upside-down world.
Mine was, I hope the weather is good tomorrow for my trip to the backyard. I'm getting tired of the living room.
Oh, and this one makes me laugh every time I read it. This morning I saw a neighbor talking to her dog. It was obvious she thought her dog understood her. I came into my house and told my cat. We laughed a lot.
See, if you spot it, you got it.
Yeah, it's been a crazy year. There's more, but what did you learn from 2020? What did it teach you? I wrote down several things, but I'm just curious if there's at least one thing or more that.
It taught me to trust God and look for him in the change. I don't like change. I like consistency. And I didn't want to take my practice into my house and start seeing people online rather than in office. I was really resistant, and my husband asked me to do it to help safeguard my mother-in-law who lives with us. I have loved it, and it would be hard for me to go back in office. Having access to my kids every day, I've loved the change, and I would never have wanted to make it
Interesting.
before.
I had two things. At the beginning of the year, I was looking at a whole year of travel, which is typical for us, right? Mm-hmm. And there were some issues where I was a little panicked about, how things were all going to fit into all the things. And hey, guess what? COVID clarified all that. We just didn't go anywhere. And I kept thinking this whole entire year, Steve has the rules from his mom, Clara's sayings. And, my favorite one has been so perfect this whole year is it's always something. Yeah. Literally, it was always something this year. And we survived it.
We did. There are a couple that come to my mind. I realized that our culture was operating in a frenzy. I think of my own life, walking through airports every week, jumping on airplanes and running to the hotel, talking to people at the workshops. It was just back and forth on a weekend. And it was really nice to slow down, just like you said, Becky, the less travel. I also learned to turn off the news and realize that was causing me more stress than I needed. I was reminded that my wife is my best friend, and we have drawn closer. What choice did we have? We better make it fun and worthwhile.
Exactly.
And then friends are important. Some quiet time is good. It's really good for the soul, but loneliness and isolation is not. So I hope people aren't going overboard with their quiet time to the point of isolation.
Yeah. I also remembered that, they made us panic that there wouldn't be toilet paper, and there is toilet paper. You can still get it.
Yeah, it is a world of panic, and so I hope we can all slow down. But please give us a call. We want to talk to you. We'll take a call right after the break. But our phone number here is 800-229-3000. Tell us what you struggled with through Christmas. How panicky are you about the new year? We want to talk to you. Give us a call. We'll be right back.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said you either get help or or I had to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
I believed that I could do it on my own. I just believed if I tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps, I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online Saturday, January 9th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. And before we take this call, there's a couple up on the board already. If you are a Club New Life member and you give to New Life every month with your credit card, would you please call us? We need to talk to you. There's some changes happening, and we just need a quick call from you. Just call anybody, 800-NEW-LIFE, 639-5433. Tell them you heard it on the radio, and they'll help you out. So thank you for that. Okay, let's go and talk to Linda from Dallas, Texas. Listens online. Hello, Linda. How can we help you?
Hi. Good afternoon.
Thank you.
I have a question for you. So my husband had a stroke 4 years ago at 54.
Ooh.
We had just moved to a new state at the time. So about a year ago, our 26-year-old son moved out to help us. He's been here a year, and he hasn't been working for the last 6 months. He does help me. He's kind of debating on whether or not he should stay here or move back to our home state. So recently my father died. He inherited some money.
Your son?
I'm in control. My son did,
Okay.
yes. I'm in control of the money. And I don't want this to become a battle between us and destroy our relationship. He's just not real mature. He plays a lot of video games. He's not good with money. He burns through it. So I have a little plan on what I thought I would do, but then I thought, well, I need some help with this. So that's my call. How should I handle the money?
Tell us your plan.
Well, my plan was, so there's so much money and it's being kept by a financial advisor. And I can call him and ask him to send it. My son has no access to it. So I called and I asked him to send me $10,000. And my plan was I was going to open a bank account with his name and my name on it, put some of the money in there so he can access it, put the rest of it in my account where he has no access, and let him know before you can even start spending any of this, you need to have a job. You can use some of it to get your car in working order, but
So, Linda, I have a question. I have a question
Okay.
about, you said that he moved in with you guys a year ago. Was the intention that he was going to help you with your husband after the stroke, or what was that plan?
Yes. So my husband had the stroke 4 years ago. He's been back for a year. During the 4 years, he'd get a UTI or he'd have a seizure, and he would regress so far back where sometimes he couldn't walk, he couldn't toilet himself, and I would have to call our son and fly him out here, and he'd wind up missing weeks or two of work. And so this went on for 3 years.
So
then I finally just said,
Okay.
just come out.
Okay, so he was helping you. He had a life somewhere else, and then he came home to help, right?
Yes.
Okay. Before you go, Alice, this is what I was thinking about your plan, Linda. I don't think the idea of telling him about the money, then giving him kind of a prerequisite, you got to get a job and then I'll give you this. I think just encouraging him to find his life. If you're saying that you don't need his help anymore and you'd like to see him get a job and continue on in his life, I would encourage him to do that, and then you can distribute the money as needed without holding it over him like a carrot. You know, I don't know what your father's wishes were for the distribution of those funds, but I think that they're not necessarily tied together. And I don't know that you want to be in that role of, you know, wish granter, you know, and
I don't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And my dad and my mom's wish was that it would go for school.
Okay. Okay.
Linda,
But school's not his thing.
did he finish college?
No, he didn't.
Did he,
So
did he go at all to college?
sorry? No, he did not.
Okay. And was he
School's just not his thing.
was he living independently and responsibly before he came to stay with you?
No. That was one of the reasons why I encouraged him to come back. I needed his help, but he was working 45 minutes or to an hour away from where he lived, and the gas prices were so high at the time that he was sleeping in Walmart parking lots because he doesn't budget his money well.
Was he
And
able
I'm like-
was he able to fund his own life, or were you and your husband supporting him financially?
He was couch surfing at that point, but we were not financially supporting him. But prior to my husband's stroke, because my husband is the one who would like give him money and stuff. Prior to that, my husband would help him out all the time. But then once Danny had his stroke, then, you know, he knows Mama's not that way so much.
And if you presented your plan to your son, what do you think is his worst likely reaction he would have?
He would get upset and yell, and yeah.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
I've got a different thought, and I don't usually refer people to another organization, but I'm a Dave Ramsey fan. I wouldn't give your son money until he attended Financial Peace University, something Dave Ramsey does. Kids these days are not taught about money, about how to handle it, about what a curse it can be if you're not handling it well. And until he has an understanding of money, and if it's just a gift, he's not going to appreciate it. And I would require him to even listen to Dave's program for weeks on end just to get a handle on what money is.
And I was thinking that's a great idea, Larry. I think you know, the issue is more than the finances and him not working, Linda. I think there's a family dynamic in play here. You know, this is a young adult. This isn't a 15-year-old. Now, I know that there are choices that he's making, like before he lived with you, that, you know, maybe aren't smart or whatever. But the challenge is, how do you launch him from where he is right now? And I think, you know, it could be whether he doesn't go to college, it could be a specialized training. It could be, you know, that he does financial peace, you know, but there's got to be a conversation that is around how to have him be successful in his life, as opposed to, you don't do anything right and I'm not going to give you this money and you need to get a job, and because you don't want that, Linda. You got a lot going on. The other part, I think, too, is if he's been helpful with your husband, maybe get some nursing training and, you know, be that helper that you need, because, you know, it just could be something that would be a good future for him as well.
And Linda, your dilemma reveals some deeper problems in the relationship, that even having the conversation with your son would elicit anger
Right.
and reactivity at that level. And it also brings to mind for you that your husband has given him sums of money, and it possibly has led to an attitude of entitlement on his part. And yet he's a hardworking guy willing to sleep in the Walmart parking lot and able to get to his job. So there is some responsibility taking there that you may not be acknowledging enough. I agree with having Dave Ramsey as a requirement moving forward. And I would want you to bring up to your son, I'm undecided what to do. I'm worried what will happen if I give you too much. I want to motivate you to make some healthier choices. But I'm also even afraid to communicate this to you because I think you'll get angry at me.
And Linda, I would even encourage you to take that course with him. It's not an actual university where he's going to classes for semesters on end.
A lot of churches have it.
Yeah. But look it up. Just go to Dave Ramsey's website and look it up. I think it would help you as much as it will help him. And if you two did it together, it could be a bonding element.
So lastly, Linda, I would go into this being okay, not knowing exactly what you're going to do yet, and see what happens as you acknowledge some of these things to your son, as you make the Dave Ramsey suggestion, and that will help you decide what to do next with the money. But bring up your concerns to him.
Thank you, Linda, for calling us. Boy, book...
Take your life back.
That's my first thought. Okay, take your life back. We're sending that to you. Okay, we're going to go talk to Sally. Sally listens on our app, and she's in South Florida. Hello, Sally. Thank you. And for all of you that don't know, we have a New Life Ministries app. Just go to the App Store and download it. Find the New Life Ministries that's got our logo, the tree with the little brain in it. And there's a lot of good things you can do with that app, like listen to the program. How can we help you, Sally?
I agree. So I just had a quick question for you. How do you manage, I have a 17-year-old and a 21-year-old, one in college and one a junior in high school. Good kids for the most part, but how do you manage the disrespect? I think the way that they relate nowadays is very different. So how do I manage the disrespect with my children?
Sally,
and then
would you give us an example of their disrespect?
Well, I think what's fair to say is I'm probably the odd one out in the family. The three of them are very sarcastic. That is not something that I've ever wanted in my family. So
the third being your husband?
Talking about some, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, and I can't control them. I have to let them live organically themselves. But I also want to honor what I like and what I feel comfortable with. I try to go along as much as I can. So it would be like if they like my daughter's very curt. Well, Mom, that's just how it is. Just get over it. That's just how I am. And so I will say back to her, that's disrespectful. Please don't, like, she'll call me names. Do not call me that or I'll take away your phone. Oh, she was just joking. That was just funny. And then they all laugh. So I say, please don't speak to me. That's very hurtful to me.
Well, that's a little bit, that's a little bit different than sarcasm. That's flat out disrespect. I think, and Larry, you know,
one rolls into the other. So
right.
Yes.
Right. Well, and so the hardest part about raising people, because they start as babies, but they end up being adults at some point, and you're in the tough years right now. But Sally, there's hope. You can adjust this. I think the first step I would suggest is to really work on grounding yourself and who you are. Because I think in those middle years, those adolescent years, if you don't know who you are, they're going to tell you who they think you are, even though you're not that person. So that disrespect is coming from a place of they don't have boundaries, and it's hard for you to, establish that boundary, that you're having this conversation with them of, having to tell them that's disrespectful. It sounds easy in theory, but at 17 and 21, they're on the other side of this. And so what you want to be able to do is stay connected without letting them define the relationship. And so it looks a little bit like when she says, if she ever calls you a name, think about would you ever take that from any stranger on the planet?
I'll answer no.
Oh, no, not at all. And I do stand up for myself, but sometimes what I have been saying lately is just kindness. Just one word, and I am pretty grounded in who I am.
Okay, well, so what I'm going to suggest, though, Sally, is when they say something like that you be vulnerable and say, that's really painful. That really hurts me. Because then you become the person as opposed to the figure of a parent. And
well, then they say you're too sensitive.
Well, I think there's an answer for that too, but we'll take that up right after the break, okay? We've got a break coming here in just a few seconds. And just want to remind people, you can watch this show right now on the YouTube channel for New Life. Find us at youtube.com, New Life Live, and you can join in the comments. But right after this, we'll finish up with Sally.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is being held online Saturday, February 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back, and we're talking with Sally. She has some kids who are disrespectful, and we were talking about this here at the break, Sally, and Becky's got some words to you. We think your husband needs to be called in on this a little bit.
Yes, Sally, you said that you're pretty grounded and that you've been vulnerable. Those are all really great steps. I don't know if you've had the conversation with your husband yet, because you guys really need a united front. If he's in on it, if he's participating in it, it's basically his stamp of approval that this is okay in the household. Has that been a conversation that you guys have had?
Yes, unfortunately, it has been. And he is a peace at all costs kind of guy. And what's the big deal?
Is he also is he unkind to you? And does he mistreat you with his words?
He has.
Yeah.
He has. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yes.
so
I mean, I have called in on other issues, on marriage issues, but I just continue to model what is right and what is good.
So here, Sally, this is what I'm going to say, and then I'll let Alice talk about this. I think the big shift has to go from how do I get my kids to be respectful and kind to me to how do I strengthen my marriage? How do I work on this thing? Because those kids are going to go, but I really, that's where the breakdown is, I think. And that's just my 2 cents, but.
It is. No, it is. It absolutely is. But I can only do my part of that. And he is not willing to do any more counseling or retreats or anything. He said he's just going to handle it himself.
Well,
the
try
marriage.
a one-day Zoom with us, February the 13th, marriage workshop. One day.
I have
I'd
asked him.
Don't ask him, tell him. I'm serious. This is really important. We're going to do this. You need to do this with me.
Sally, we feel pretty upset on your behalf and protective of you. It's just a joke. Mom, you're too sensitive. That can minimize and excuse such a level of cruelty. And if they're willing to do it to you, you're right to be concerned about your kids, because where else is that going to come out? Who else are they going to be willing to mistreat? So I'm going to add to the advice that I would have you have another conversation when it's not happening. And I want you to acknowledge I might be too sensitive. I know you guys say that about me all the time, and maybe that's true. But I need to take care of my heart. And when you guys give me the just joking, Mom, you're too sensitive, and you start name calling, that doesn't work for me. And I'm gonna be protecting myself by leaving the room. When you all get into that, if you won't stop, I'm gonna leave the room. And I may need to distance myself even more emotionally, because I am happy to be with my kids when they're respectful to me and my husband when he's respectful of me. But if not, I'm gonna be going elsewhere. I'm not gonna stay to put up with this. And then you got to follow through. So I'm proud of you that you say things like, I'm taking. Yes, you have. And do you still, or do you? It sounds like you stick around for it a little. Am I wrong?
Well, I'm sticking along in the marriage. I'm going to a New Life counselor that you guys had recommended. I've been going to them for a while. I am sticking around at least until my daughter graduates. But at what point do I walk away? I mean, I have set healthy boundaries. I do what I've been counseled to do, but I can't make him show up. He just says he's going to do it himself, that the counseling doesn't work, that he doesn't want to do that anymore. So he's pretty strong. He's like, this is who I am, take it or leave it, is what he has said. And so I have set pretty strong boundaries. I do a lot of my life by myself, and I'm okay with that. But at what point do you, do I finally say, I have said, we don't have intimate relations.
But Sally, here's the thing: you are acquiescing to the problem when you say things like, "I've just gotten okay with that." I don't want you to be okay with things that are not okay for you. You've set some really good boundaries. That you're doing your work. I hear all of that. There are a whole lot of steps in between staying and going. But what happens is when we start to think that it's just the way it is, and this is, and accepting his rationale.
No, it's not the way it is. I do set boundaries, and I fulfill. I follow through with my boundaries.
Sally, what would he listen to this program if you told him tomorrow, I want to go online and listen? I was so concerned about our kids and their lack of respect that I even called a radio program. And when they talked to me, it turned to be our marriage. Would you listen to this with me? Would he listen?
He would. If he did, he would be very angry about it. But we have done intensives. He's like, this is just who I am.
Oh, Sally, you live in a lonely house where Mom being mistreated is okay. When the boundaries we have are not protecting us sufficiently, and when the consequences are not influencing the kids to do better than they've been doing, then that's when we do have to ramp it up. And so it might get to, I pay for a phone for a child that's kind and loving to me. It may be, I'm going away for a weekend, for a week, for a period of time, because my heart is hurting in our house. And I don't think you folks are hearing me, and you're not changing. You're not becoming more considerate of my heart and how I've been feeling with this. Think about with your counselor how and where to ramp up the consequences and to lengthen the distance that you have to take from them emotionally to protect yourself. You've been doing the right thing, and now it's time to step it up more, because it hasn't been enough yet to change them or to protect yourself.
Sally, thank you for your call. I hope some of this has helped. I'm thinking...
Take your life back.
Okay.
Yep.
There we go. We're going to send you Take Your Life Back. And the reason I love that book is it helps us learn how to respond and not react. And it's pretty important in a situation like you are. You're in a tough situation. So thank you for your call. We'll be back, and we'll take some more calls right after this.
of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we are back. Give us a call at 800-229-3000. You've heard some of these calls. We've got more on the board, but we're here another hour after this. And I want you to hear from, I don't remember the name of this testimony, Terry.
Susan.
Susan, thank you. She's going to make the ask. I usually do that, but listen to this.
Hi, this is Susan. I live in Northern Illinois, and I've been listening to New Life for many years. Gone to a few workshops, too, and they've really helped me and made a powerful impact in my life. I want to support a ministry that helps people connect with God and with others and gives them the tools to help transform their lives. They also give scholarships for people in need, and so I know New Life can't do these great things, including expensive airtime and giving these scholarships without the generous financial support of their listeners. So if your life has been impacted by this ministry, please consider giving.
Amen, Susan. Thank you. And we're running out of time in terms of getting a year-end gift in. As long as it's postmarked in December, it can be considered on your taxes for 2020. Any postmark that shows January, it's a 2021 gift.
And we'll take that too.
We will, absolutely. and same thing with calling or doing online. Midnight Central tomorrow night is the deadline. So, Alice?
Folks, as you think whether or not to give here as the year ends, I want you to ask yourselves, what has been my biggest takeaway from New Life? How has New Life impacted my life? And I can tell you, my relationship with God has changed because of New Life. I can't put a price tag on that. So would you consider returning with some gratitude? We'll take financial support. We'd love your prayers as well.
Thank you very much, Alice and Susan. There was one. Oh, I think I said this already, but 800-229-3000 will be here another hour. Let's talk with Jane. Jane's on line 3, Orlando, Florida. She listens on the app as well. Hello, Jane. How can we help you?
Hi. I just have I have a quandary. I'm newly divorced, and I didn't want to file for divorce. My husband left and said that he was going to file, and he never did. And so I did, and he is an alcoholic and an addict. And so I just felt like maybe that would help him, you know. stop what he's doing. But no. And so anyway, now we're divorced, and but he contacts me still every day. And since we've been divorced, he's lost his job, and he's lost, like, he just got eviction notice yesterday, and so he's losing his place where he's at, and he just is losing everything, it seems like. And he was a Christian until last year, and then decided he's going to be an atheist. And
Jane, is all this
yes.
loss really tugging at your heartstrings, and are you feeling guilt and wanting to help him more?
Yes, I feel like, well, I know, like, none of this had to happen, but I know that there's nothing, I can do. He has to want the help. So when he became an atheist, when he decided he was no longer going to be a Christian, going to be an atheist, he stopped his recovery. I feel sad for him, and
So if you had to make a question, if you had to make a question out of this, what was your question for us?
I want to. How can I show the love of Christ through him to him without enabling him? I don't. He hasn't asked to come back here now that he's being evicted. I was afraid that he would. He hasn't asked yet.
Jane,
yeah.
you have such compassion for him, and I think you have a very giving heart. And of course you feel for him as more and more is being stripped away. I'm delighted you're asking the question, because you probably are at risk of saving him from some of these consequences of his behavior. And the most loving thing for you to do is to allow him to continue to experience those consequences, because shockingly, he has not suffered enough yet.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what it reminds me of when Jesus talks to the rich young ruler who comes to him and says, I've done all of these things. What must I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus, knowing that he has an issue with his money and with his notoriety and even with his youth, he says, give up everything and come and follow me. And what's happening, Jane, for your husband is he's literally refusing everything that would bring him life and wanting to do life his own way. And Alice, you're absolutely right that it's great that you're asking the question, but you are at big risk, Jane. And I would wonder, are you in recovery yourself? Like, are you part of a life recovery group, or, do you need to be connected with an Al-Anon group? Because you won't be the first or the last person in this circumstance to have that weight of guilt of how do I love him like Jesus when he is at his very worst. Are you connected, Jane?
I am. And actually, a couple other couples and us started a New Life Recovery at our church.
Oh, wow.
And and I've, gone to Celebrate Recovery as well, and gone to Al-Anon, and also open meetings at AA.
Wonderful.
So I've been in recovery for like the last 4-5 years, I guess.
And so Jane, how do you take from us the advice that you have to let him suffer even more and longer, and that's the most loving thing you can do for him?
I understand that, and I know that, like, I comprehend
But it
that,
feels so wrong, doesn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard Steve say to people in the same situation before that when we enable, it's like you hate them so much because you want them to stay stuck. And that sounds so harsh. But like you said, Alice, the most loving thing you can do, and Jane, you're doing such good work with all of the communities that you've been involved with. the most loving thing you can do is allow him to make his choices, because that's what he wants. That's what his decision is. And so that's the hard thing, but that's the direction forward.
Jane, I think there's a historical root here, that there was somebody else in your life that you didn't save and they were lost. And I think watching your husband suffering is probably hitting that other older wound that you have.
Sure.
What does that bring to mind for you?
I don't know about that. I mean, we've been together so long. We started dating at 16, and he's struggled a while. He's struggled a long time, in and out of recovery and periods of sobriety. So I don't.
So it may just be him. It may not be someone else. So I think your work now, your work is to take our answer to those trusted people in your groups and to ask them if they agree with it, and to ask them to help hold you accountable. So when your husband does ask something of you, or when your heart is tugged to give him something, to relent in some way, that you would not do it without passing it by your group first. And I hope they help you to put the brakes on.
That's great advice. That's really good advice. Book.
Do you have a Life Recovery Bible, Jane? If she doesn't have one, let's send her a Life Recovery Bible.
Okay, let's do that. That's coming your way, Jane. Thank you. I learned something this morning that was kind of exciting for me. It's not a big radio market, but we air our program, New Life Live, every Saturday night. This station in Guam airs it one time a week.
That's amazing.
And they called Lisa, contacted Lisa and said, we're going to start airing it every day come the new year.
Wow.
And I think of what Guam is in terms of military base and the native people there. It's exciting to me. And there are a lot of other islands around. And I saw it's kind of a Hallmarkish kind of movie on Netflix this Christmas time. It was called Operation Christmas Drop. And if you haven't seen it, it's fun. It's a true story about dropping of supplies and goods to all the little islands around Guam that they do purely voluntarily, this island, this military base. So it was kind of cool. But pray for the people of Guam in the new year as they start to hear some things they probably never heard before, like all the rest of us. So give us a call, 800-229-3000. We'll be here another hour, and we've got another call coming up right after the break. So please hold the line. We're glad you're here today.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop will be held online Saturday, February 13th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship, and then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
To register to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or go to newlife.com.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of 7 books, including Growth Has No Boundaries by Drs. John Townsend and Henry Cloud, Take Your Life Back by Steve Arterburn and Dr. Dave Stoop, and the Emotional Freedom Workbook. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we are back. And did you want to make one comment about the phone calls for the previous caller real quick?
We do, because Jane, receiving those phone calls every day from your ex-husband probably keeps you too linked to him. And as long as he's not healthy, we advise that you separate even more and don't take so many phone calls. That will strengthen you.
And you can let it go to voicemail and then decide when you're able to answer it. Like, you don't need to. I think that's a message for everybody. It's like, just because your phone's ringing doesn't mean it's, oh, I got to pick it up. It's just, voicemail is amazing.
You ladies are so compassionate. I would change my phone
you know
number.
What? Well, okay.
Just kidding. Okay, there's a call coming to us from New Zealand. She listens on our app. Hello, Carrie. Thank you for calling us. What time is it in New Zealand?
Hi. It is 7:46 a.m.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well, how can we help you today? And thank you for listening all this way.
I listen on the app, and I've called before. My mum was diagnosed with Alzheimer's April last year. And I'm wondering whether you think this is, with the circumstances. She's also had a car accident a number of years ago, more than 5 years ago. And she had head trauma from that. And also she moved house about, 3 years or so ago, something like that. And basically she's declining very, very rapidly. I thought Alzheimer's would be more gradual. But the other thing is... she's turned 77 today, but she's adamant she's 75, and it's almost like her brain switched off around that time.
That's interesting.
Well,
so what's your question, Carrie?
So do you think that is Alzheimer's, or do you think it could be something else? Because my brother thinks something may have happened around that time, but we don't know of anything specific that...
One thing I've observed, and this is just an observation, the people that I know who have had loved ones with Alzheimer's, no two have been the same.
Yes.
I've seen people that have lingered for years and years and years, and I've seen people that in 60 days they're gone.
Yeah. Right. That rate of decline is so variable.
Yeah. So it very well could be, but I don't know what you ladies think.
What would it mean to you, Carrie, if it were something else? What would be different then for you?
I don't know. It depends what it is, really. But the dehydration may be a factor. Like she stopped talking some of the time, and then when we gave her some water, she started talking a little bit more.
Carrie, are you working?
She didn't want to eat last night.
Are you working with a neurologist or someone who is dealing with the cognitive issues that she's having?
No, well, she went to a specialist, but the specialist wasn't really on the same page that what we wanted to, because I like Dr. Amon's strategies and things like that. But my brother is from a college where they do what they call a New Start program with all your basics, like your nutrition, air and water and exercise and all that sort of thing. So he's changed her diet, and he's noticing some improvement. She's comprehending more. But, her speech is, gone downhill.
Are you prepared?
And her energy level.
Are you prepared to care for her long term, or do you have a plan for putting her in a facility that deals with Alzheimer's patients?
We're hoping that maybe Dad could either employ somebody to live in the house with her or be with her when he's at work, or, we've got to work all that out.
Yeah, just something to think about, because that could happen real quickly.
It's really hard when you see a big shift like you're talking about, Carrie. But the fact that she's had this closed head trauma, she's had a diagnosis of Alzheimer's, and she's 77 today. There are lots of things that are happening that the future has to be laid out now. Like what happens if she does decline? Then, do we have somebody that can help? But I do think rather than figuring out what happened when she was 75 to, kind of trigger her back there, Alzheimer's is such a mysterious disease that she could just be saying that, and it's not based in anything other than just the fact that her brain's not working the way it normally would. And I'm sorry for that, but it's...
Yeah, could be. Could be, yeah.
Sure. This is not... Go ahead.
Do you think that, like the change of diet and having more water will help?
Absolutely. Because the how you treat the body, and you probably know this from Dr. Amen, the treatment of the body affects the brain's health, and diet is just tied directly to how well the brain works and how well the brain can even recover in the midst of a disorder like this. So I'd really recommend you reach out to Dr. Amen and ask about a phone consultation to be able to get his advice on this, because he'd have very, very expert feedback to be able to give you. And then you probably need to look for another specialist there who can see your mom directly, because you need more guidance with someone on the ground who knows your mom personally and is seeing these changes take place as you folks move forward through this.
I don't have a schedule in front of me, Carrie, but next time Dr. Amen is on,
that's a good idea.
Try calling then.
Yep.
It would be a real interesting phone call.
How will I know when you're going to be on next?
We post on Facebook. We post the schedule for the following week.
If you listen on the app, there's always a schedule every week on the app that will have who's going to be on this week. So check the app for the schedule of hosts.
Carrie, I just have to ask you.
Okay, well, I'll ring when he's on.
Yeah. How did you learn about New Life originally?
I'm not sure. Oh, hang on. It's Life Talk Radio. They have it.
Oh, okay.
That's where I first heard it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for
and
calling.
I got the app on both my phones.
Got the app what?
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for your help.
Okay.
We'll be praying for you, Carrie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hope you have a good day.
And Happy New Year. You're going to get there before we are.
Bye-bye now. I want to close with this piece of scripture, and I'd like you guys just to share anything about this. It's Ephesians chapter 1, and it starts at verse 17. Ephesians is such a good prayer book. This is what Paul writes. I keep asking that the God of our Lord Jesus Christ, the glorious Father, may give you the spirit of wisdom and revelation so that you may know him better. I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you, the riches of his glorious inheritance in his holy people, and his incomparably great power for us who believe. That power is the same as the mighty strength he exerted when he raised Christ from the dead and seated him at his right hand in the heavenly realms, far above all rule and authority, power and dominion, and every name that is invoked, not only in the present age, but also in the one to come. And I just love that. That's our prayer for you folks that are listening. It's for everybody.
To know the hope and that incomparable power.
Yeah, and to gain the wisdom.
And I think we can be either forgetful or ignorant of how much Christ desires to share his power with us. And when we realign with his will, when we ask him for wisdom, and when we ask him for that power that he promises, he comes through. So keep asking. Don't stop asking.
I know there's a lot of people that are feeling overwhelmed with whatever their circumstance is, like what Carrie was just talking about. And that same power that rose Jesus from the grave is at work within you. And so just keep that in mind.
And while you keep that in mind, we're here another hour. Call us at 800-229-3000. We would love to talk to you and answer some of your questions. And if you're on hold from this call, I see several calls on the board, please hold the line. We'll come back to you after about a 5-minute break here. So Happy New Year to everybody. It's New Year's Eve, and it's your last chance to make a gift to New Life in 2020. Take it. Be risky.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.